Fall has arrived so quickly, it practically caught me off guard. It's been such a warm, extended summer, I barely noticed the leaves coming off the trees in the past few weeks. And disappointingly, the leaves are mostly green and riddled with brown spots, so not the prettiest year for foliage. But I had an idea to take a drive just on the other side of the mountain to a trail where I suspected brighter aspens were making a show because they tend to get colder temperatures. So I took Vigo out for a fall morning hike and we set out to find some golden leaves. To our surprise, we had an extra cold morning with howling winds and even spotted some snow sifting down through the gray clouds. But we did find our trail of yellow and gold. Mornings like this have me back in the kitchen, cooking up and preserving some delicious, healthy foods.
What is cooking on Wednesday? Well, I'm going to show you my French onion soup, how I cook it, and then how I freeze dry it to have a meal whenever. First thing is to melt some butter in the pan. We got plenty of onions here. That's going in the pan. Melted butter. Stir it around a little bit. And then I'm going to cover this and let it simmer 15 minutes and come back to it. Well, the onions have softened up quite a bit, so the next step, I'm going to add some salt and a little bit of sugar to help it brown. But the next step is to stir for about 40 minutes to help it get that caramelized, brown, delicious French onion soup that we all know and love. So I'll see you in a few minutes. You can see how brown the pan is getting. Now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour, stir and cook for another 3 minutes to kind of get all those starches ready to thicken the soup once I add the liquid. It's a half a cup of white wine and 8 cups of beef broth. Add this in so it doesn't splash. And let it simmer for the next half hour. Well, you can see it has reduced down quite a bit, probably more than what the recipe recommended, but that's because I'm freeze drying it. So once it cools off a little bit, I'm gonna put it into the freeze dry trays, put it in the freezer overnight, and tomorrow morning, I'll be starting the freeze dry cycle. The easiest way, I think, is instead of pouring it in, because it can be kind of messy, just to scoop it in. This will actually help it cool off even more. These trays hold about 6 cups if you go to the very tippy top, maybe 7, but that's not a good idea because transporting them into the freezer is really tricky. So I like to underfill them a little bit if I'm doing liquids like soups. So once that gets to room temperature, I'm putting it in the freezer, and then tomorrow morning is going to be where I start the freeze dry cycle. All right, folks, the freeze dried food is done. So I'm taking it out of the dryer. So these are my 4 things that I made. French onion soup I ended up fitting into one tray, so it combined. Beef stew, and this was just leftover, so it wasn't really a full tray. It's always recommended to really fill your tray up to get your the best value for processing food. I also did some creamed cauliflower, so that's what this is. Again, I was just using up the cauliflower that I had, so not as full as it could have been. I probably could have tripled this batch. I did a mirepoix, which is a combination of celery, onions, and carrots, which is the base of almost any soup or stew. So it's just good to have this on hand, very fresh, so I can just store this in the cupboard. But that is the 4 things that I've made. So the next step is to seal them up. This is Mylar packaging. I'll take 1 bag and make multiple seals on it. And if you remember, I really concentrated the soup. So even though it doesn't look like much freeze dried, it is going to take a lot more water to get it to the recommended flavor without being too salty. You can put big chunks in the bag and then crush it up in the bag so it can save room. Get it nice and as flat as I can before I seal it up. In about 4 seconds, I flip it over and do the other side. Now, I didn't put an oxygen absorber in here. I didn't put any kind of desiccant. So, you know, there's still oxygen in this pouch. This isn't like a 10-year storage food item. I plan on eating these this winter. So, you know, for a couple of months, this is just fine. If you're looking for the 10-year, 15-year plus food storage, you would want to put an oxygen absorber packet in here. I just don't want to waste them because I know I'm going to be eating these, you know, in the next couple of months. And just like that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 portions of French onion soup stored. So again, these can be, depending on how big of a bowl you like, this could be 1 to 2 servings per pouch. And it's, you know, great emergency dinner. So I'm going to pack up the rest of my foods, and we'll see you next time. What's cooking on Wednesday? So if you like this series, guys, let me know what you want to see. Practicing my skills on using food preservation techniques like freeze drying and dehydration. And maybe some other things as well. So naturally, this is a fun topic for me as a dietitian, nutritionist. This is what I do for a living, is help people eat healthier. So hopefully I can help you guys with some ideas about saving foods and preserving nutritious foods. What's your favorite soup, guys? Leave me a comment below.
Fall is the perfect time in Colorado to welcome visits from family, such as Brian's stepdad, who came up for a few days and got to enjoy the foliage and the nice warmer temperatures we had before it got too chilly. But he brought along a special memento from home. Years ago, he had made a wolf sculpture for Brian's mom, which Brian is now inheriting. It's a fantastic design. It's quite robust, quite tall, made from steel, and very heavy. So we're using the tractor to give it a new home on our Colorado homestead.
Well, we don't know its final resting place, but for now we'll put it by the shed and maybe scare off any predators that want to try to sneak up on our shed. I was thinking right here against this tree, maybe. Quite the sculpture. This is a tight squeeze. Tight squeeze back here.
Push forward. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Vigo? What is it? What does it look like? What is that big thing, Vigo? Is that wolf? What is this? Is that a wolf?
It's possible. Yeah, it's just the two of us.
You want to lean it?
I'll tie it to the tree. Yeah, let's go that way. I grabbed the heavy end. Yeah. You have more experience. That's at least on Amy's size. Yeah.
I know. Yes.
Well, folks, that's our early October update where we really have no leaves left on the trees. Somehow it came and went within just a couple of weeks, but we still have plenty of flowers. No frost yet to say. We still have all the flowers and wildflowers that I planted way back last spring. So enjoying the last of the beautiful sun and as we transition seasons. See you next time, guys. Take care.